Did want to talk about some of these edge rushers that we ultimately met with at the combine, because as we said, man, the correlation typically, man, whoever we're meeting with, if we're at their pro days as well, just typically has a little bit more eyes on it, just gives us a little bit more direction. But it was interesting hearing some of these players that they met with from an edge rusher perspective. And hit that like button too one time for the coach. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, and hit that notification bell as well. But the rushers that we met with at the combine, Nick Herbig from Wisconsin, little brother of Nate Herbig of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we definitely like that. Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa. Lonnie Phelps out of Kansas. Derek Hall from Auburn. Nolan Smith, UGA. Ain't no more playing GA. Let's get it. Then after that, Dylan, or no, is it Dylan? No, Dylan. I'm going to say Dylan. I'm tripping. Dylan Horton out of TCU. Then Felix Anadike Uzama out of Kansas State. And then Tyrus Wheat from Mississippi State. Alrighty. So briefly, let's see. We've talked Nolan Smith. We know who he is. Super athletic. Had the crazy combine performance. Was it 4.39 or something like that he ran? So since then, obviously, we know he's been hopping up a lot of draft boards. It's funny, man. The more I watch him, though, he reminds me, I'm getting Hassan Riddick vibes with him, like early on, because he's like super athletic.
Yeah,
but
I think he's going to be good.
Yeah, like he definitely has, like, he's raw, but if he gets that thing, oh, yeah, he got a lot of potential right there. Do you think he goes as high as they're talking, though?
I think he's going first. And now some people, didn't Kuiper have him going in the
like
teens?
top 10. Yeah, it was like top 15. Yeah.
He might. I do think he's going to be good. Whenever I was watching some of his stuff today, and then you compare it to what he did at the combine, it's like you can move him around a little bit.
He is.
He's going to be fast off the
man.
edge.
Yeah.
And he's not just fast, too. I think he's
strong,
powerful.
bro.
Like he can push some of these dudes back.
Yeah. He's definitely strong, man. But that's all I was watching. I'm just like, bro, he's giving me the Hassan Riddick vibes, bro. Like that's what they seeing with that, man. But then from there, man, Nick Herbig, bro. Shout out.
Seems
to
like
Nick,
you got
man.
a lot to say about him.
All right, I'll just talk about him briefly. But this cat, man, when I cut the tape on, the first thing that jumped off was the athleticism, the speed rush, active hands, man. He gets after the quarterback. I think he has a really good natural bend to his game. Now, the thing is this, though. He is a thinner body type. He's not, built like a prototypical outside linebacker. But when you watch him, he does some of everything. Can drop into coverage. He's really crafty in terms of how he takes on blocks when the run is at him versus when you see run away, he's chasing everything down, look like TJ out there. You're like, bro, you better block him. Somebody needs to chip this dude. He's going to tackle this every single time. That's ultimately what he does. But to me, man, I just think that Nick, he's versatile. I was definitely surprised to see him be that athletic. I was not anticipating the speed element.
Because his brother's so fat.
His brother's a little thicker, and he played at Wisconsin. So I was like, all right, bro, it's going to be a run stopper, okay? Forgive me, Deke, forgive me. I cut on the tape, and I was like, whoa, like what just happened here, man? So the surprise factor caught me off guard. But I just think that he's really polished, too, when you're talking about his pass rush ability, and that's something that is different when we're talking about some of these other guys. Like Nolan Smith, I don't think he's as polished as a rusher. I think Nolan wins through speed and just power and just outworking guys. But when you talk about a repertoire of actually moves and know how to set stuff up, I think Nick is better at that. But yeah, I definitely like Nick a lot. And I think he's one of them dudes you can get middle rounds too. I don't think you have to spend, a 32nd overall the type to get this dude.
Hell no.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, but when we're talking a third rusher, that is the type of dude that you could be looking for that's going to be cheap type thing, man.
And Mike Turner saying Nick Herbig has a close relationship with TJ Watt.
Oh!
The anti
the
Taylor
funny thing,
Lewan.
and this the other thing. The funny thing is this. He does the same rush moves as TJ, bro. Oh my God. I saw my man run, hit it with the, I'm a bull you. Nope, I'm a flash and dip button. I said, bro, that's the TJ. I said he gave this the TJ that started from the JJ. You remember how JJ gonna get a fake bull and take it away. And he gonna roll up under that thing and bend the edge. TJ, take it away. He definitely. I'm like, bro, that's the same move. It must be a Wisconsin staple. I had never learned that move coming out. Never. I see these dudes do it all the time. I'm like, okay, that's the white Wisconsin. I'm gonna show you this, and I'm gonna woosa. Take it away. But he definitely has that move.
Is Herbig a lock for a 4th round pick then?
It's a strong possibility.
Or we
bro.
trade back into the 5th and take
all I'm saying, Deke, it's a strong possibility the Steelers are going to be liking
together.
this guy
Early
a lot.
top 19s reported.
Oh my god, bro! I can see it. When I was like, yo, they're like, yo, it just looked too similar. I'm like, yo, as soon as he did the move, I'm like, it's only one other person I know does that move. I was telling you, bro. I had to look. I'm like, yo, is this the right tape, right? All right, this ain't. Oh, okay, all right. But yo, he rangy. He close on you. I like it, bro. I like it. And I thought, man, when you're talking about some of the other guys, because we know in our defense you got to drop into coverage. I thought that he was one of those guys who was still a lot more fluid in his drops when he was in a pedal, when he was having to do some of the coverage stuff. Now, he still didn't do a ton of it, but I just thought that he looked more comfortable in contrast to some of these other guys we're going to talk about.
Well, that's the crazy thing to me. I think all of them, outside of Lonnie Phelps, maybe even Lucas Van Ness, all of these dudes look like they're safeties. Really.
Yeah, athletes in space, right?
Yeah, it's almost like football is evolving like the NBA is evolving, where everyone just looks the same out there.
How many
positionless players?
Think about when TG is on, when we say it's what? It's basketball on grass. Like, we want to see Q playing in space. That's what the game is now. All of those dudes, man, like, I felt like I wrote the same thing for everybody except 2 players up here. Super athletic, rangy.
Yeah.
Because all of them, like all but 2 of them dudes, like you said, Lucas Van Ness, he's the main one where he definitely, to me, is 4-3, or he's a 4-3 DN/3 technique when you watch him. Whereas these other guys, they truly are your stand-up guys. But to me, man, like, we definitely see the direction that we are looking for with that third rusher. We want something that can stand, that can be ranged, that can pass, that can drop into coverage. Another cat, man, that honestly, all of these dudes to a certain extent, not so much Lucas, because like I said, Lucas I like a ton, but to me, he's just a 4-3 dude.
Like
he's a 4-3
JJ
dude.
Watt.
Yes, you call him JJ Watt. I call him Bertier from Remember the Titans. I was like, bro, strong side. Everyone was like, that's what it looked like. But it's like heavy hands. He gonna move up and down. He can play DN. He gonna play 3-tech. He looking for a matchup, and it's relentless effort. It's hand placement. It's pad level, and he is just play after play after play after play. He's just not a space player to me, though. He's not a stand-up 3-4 outside linebacker type. Not majoring at it, at least. But another dude, though, Lonnie Phelps, out of Kansas. Another one of them dudes, man. Athletic, really good size. I thought he had really good heavy hands and good short area change of direction. When I watch him, though, in terms of his pass rushing, he wins, but I feel like it was still more of an effort-style rusher than pure like guy that's gonna win a one-on-one. And why does that matter is when you're talking about this level, you want guys like a TJ Watt, you don't have to game him. He can just put him out there. We're gonna run 4 dudes down here, no blitzing or nothing. He's gonna win it. If you don't have guys that can win one-on-ones, you got to start twisting, you got to start blitzing, and it just compromises what you want to do from a coverage perspective. So that was my only thing when I was looking at Lonnie. But if we're looking at him as that third guy, I think that is still an upgrade of what we currently have. The dude that I love too, though, Derek Hall.
Yeah.
I've seen him mocked in the
He jumped off the screen to me.
Yeah, like, to me, he was one of them dudes that I was, he'd been on my radar for a little while. Just different organization. Damn. But I like him a lot because I didn't think we needed him. You feel me? I thought it was going to get Bud.
Well, if he's going to go first round, I don't want
Right. Yeah. Initially, because that's what it was initially. But now I'm like, everybody can't go first round. Everybody can't.
I don't want him in the second either. I don't want to be taking an edge rusher before the third.
So before the
third.
The Steelers. Yeah. That's
so maybe he is a target for those people up in Buffalo.
So this is my question, though. What's the difference between what you would spend on Bud Dupree versus drafting Derek Hall in the second?
I got to be able to put words to this. Bud Dupree is the stopgap for the year, whereas your second-round pick should be franchise, whatever. You're hoping you get them to the second contract. I feel like it's a higher resource.
Don't you got somebody that's in a contract year though, right?
Than just signing Bud Dupree. What? Oh, you're wow.
We've already talked this before too. We know it's a business. Who else? Let's go down the list of who come up to get paid. You got Highsmith's going to come up to get paid. You got Pat Frymouth coming up to get paid.
If you're thinking
Najee Harris coming up to get paid.
100%.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
I'm 100%. If you're
Yeah.
thinking that way of just trying to get some leverage on Highsmith, then it would make sense.
Yeah.
To take a
'Cause
guy
that's
with
my
one of
only-
your second round picks.
That's my only
Sure.
thing. Like, because to me, if we weren't looking for that, I just wonder, like, how. I'm trying to even figure out how to word this name.
You get. I mean, if you take
Yeah,
someone
I'm
in the
with you.
second round, I'd want it to be at another position outside of edge, presuming that you already have Highsmith and TJ
Yeah.
locked up. Give me your potential franchise
Yeah.
slot receiver or the replacement for Deontay.
Yeah.
What else? I guess
'Cause
you
I'm
could
like,
talk
you're
about
gonna
safety
use-
or
'cause
cornerback.
He's gonna play, and that's the other part. He's gonna play a good amount as the third guy. No different than Ingram. No different than if Bud was here, except he's cheaper, obviously healthier, and you still have a little bit more leverage on the Heisman situation without having to spend it up front on a Bud Dupree potentially costing a couple of M's. That was the thing. Like when I thought of, I'm like, how do you still get that type of productivity that you would get from a Bud? But at the same time, without having to cut that check, and you still could feel good that I at least know I got this dude for 4 years. That was the only thing, like I said, with Derek that kind of made it intriguing
Yeah,
to me.
it's the gift and the curse. By taking one of those, you're not taking another position.
Yeah.
That's all. And having them on a cheap rookie contract
You know
for
the
4
funny
years.
part? This is the funny part. I think the way I look at Derek and how I talk myself into Derek is how you look at Addison, how you talk yourself into Addison. Where it's like, technically both are, you don't need a slot receiver. You don't need a high-end third rusher. But we both feel like we want this part right here. We want that part right there.
Okay.
And I think that's how I look at it too with him. Because I'm just like, if I'm getting that type of player who we know has first-round talent, but I can get that second, I don't see it as a negative for me, man. Because I think it gives me upgrade on defense. It gives me a insurance in terms of if any one of my guys go down. We saw what happened when TJ went down and what the pass rush looked like. Highsmith played all season. Are we going to be lucky enough to get both of them full season again? Or do you still want to have a little bit higher end backup? That's the other part when I keep thinking about the whole Derek Hall situation.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. It would just, it wouldn't be a waste. Because you could have
Well,
a
no,
really
it's never a waste.
interesting
Yeah.
like 3
Right.
pass rush thing for the next
Yeah.
couple years. It's just that if
We're trying to
if you
maximize
do give
Yeah.
Highsmith the 3-4 year deal,
Right.
it would feel like overkill to me.
Yeah.
Whereas with
And
the
especially knowing
receiver,
the price point too.
right, with receiver,
Yeah.
Deontay's contract is literally going to be up after
Yeah.
next year,
Mm-hmm.
where that's going to be up in the air whether or not we
Yeah.
re-sign him or not.
Yeah.
Whereas Highsmith, he's at the point where it's the either or. You're
Yeah.
either going to have him around long term or you're not. You could play this whole game of bringing in the replacement.
Do you
potentially.
think it changes anything to you if we saw the number be under 10 versus the number being over 10 for what we pay Highsmith?
I think he deserves over 10.
I do too. But if the number was under 10, does that change how you would look
For
at
Highsmith?
Yeah.
With drafting Derek Hall or any edge rusher early?
Yeah. Would that change your perspective if we're not saying that, hey, this is the starter who's getting double digits, TJ's making what he's making, and now we draft another dude in the early second? Like, we don't need that.
I think
but
it's
if
more
Highsmith is
about the
getting
years.
8, 9, or 7, it's like, what does that look like?
I think it's more about the years for me.
Okay.
If Highsmith's getting 2 or 3 years,
Mhm.
then maybe even 3. I don't know about that. 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd agree to that though, because then he could do the whole
that's what I'm
franchise
saying.
tag and stuff.
Yeah.
Probably potentially get more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the number bothers me as much.
As the length of it.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's
Okay.
it's the length. I just need to know if the Steelers are committed to Highsmith long term
Yeah.
or not.
For sure. Because I feel like they're going to re-sign him. Or not re-sign him. They're going to extend him. I just don't know like the magnitude of it. I feel like it should be over double digits. But we just don't know what it is just yet.
Right. Yeah, he deserves that. Coming off of his last season, even the season
Yeah.
before that was underrated. It's just his sack
Yeah.
numbers weren't double digits. It could have been. He probably missed out on like 4 or 5
Oh, he
sacks
absolutely
in
did.
2021.
Yeah.
But no, last year he really put it together. It's just TJ's the Batman. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
We want to take care of Highsmith, but at the same time, you don't want to go overkill.
That's why I'm like, does this edge rusher if you're the team from a business standpoint, does that make sense?
If you don't think a Highsmith deal is going to get done.
Fair. Okay. I can see that.
For sure. Yeah. If you don't, but I'm not getting those vibes right now. We're not getting anything like we did last offseason with Deontay and contract. Yeah. Even I don't think we had the TJ contract talk this early whenever he was up, right? We just all assumed it was going to get done. Yeah. But then, the whole holding with the training camp.
It got kind of crazy, man.
Minka, there was nothing to it. It was only Deontay, really, I think, recently.
Minka
the contract
was doing
talk
his
came
thing,
up.
but Minka ended up getting hurt, too, right? Because Minka, didn't he fall off the...
Oh, yeah, the bike.
Yeah. So I was like, because he was hurt, he wasn't out there.
Oh, you know what? No, that was after. That was after because that was around training camp.
Yeah, he did his hold in during OTAs and minicamp and stuff like that. Yeah, but he was good though because he got his deal done and everybody's fine.
I think that was literally due to the bike. Like his wrist was hurt or whatever. Yeah. Again, if the Steelers think Highsmith's going to play hardball or there's just not going to be too much negotiating or agreements being made here this offseason with the contract, then I could see them taking a guy. But I'm just not getting those vibes.
Yeah. Especially early.
This is me
at least the
from
early
afar,
on
though.
part.
Right.
But we know they love their linebackers. So that's the other part. I'm just like, SEC
yeah, maybe they just do it to do it. Even though they think they're going to have Highsmith for a 3-4 year. Maybe they just do it.
Yeah.
Just because. All the points that you brought up where, when one of them goes down, we're lacking.
Like, we felt a drop-off.
Our next guy
we felt a legitimate drop-off.
Who's our next guy? Isn't one of the guys?
It's Jameer.
It was preseason. No, we brought in Roche. It was Roche.
Roche. That's what we because it used to be Jameer. Tazar Skipper used to be the guy. He's in the XFL now. Yeah.
Now, if we bring in Bud, I feel like the quality won't drop off as much.
I would agree.
But if you want a guy,
I just think the Bud
long term. I don't know how that works though. Is everyone cool with that?
Unless I'm
like a 3-man rotation for the next 3 or 4 years.
If Bud is on a 1 year, then that concept works. If Bud is on a 2 year, then I think it goes back to the dynamic of or the dilemma of which one would I rather have, a young player that I take a little bit early on in this draft, or me paying Bud a couple of M's this year and next year.
Sure.
Whew, all right. Shout out to Derek, though, man. Now, I'm trying to think who else on this list, man, was I feeling. The Tyrus Wheat cat out of out of Mississippi State. He was another intriguing dude, man, just because of how he was utilized down there. More of like their rover, move around guy. Not great at anything, but good at a lot. He's another third type player that I can see us looking into, but I don't know when, like, he's even being projected like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's my only thing, because it's like, I think he rushes well. I think he drops into coverage well. I think he could fit what we're trying to do. Almost like a Melvin Ingram, but not as good. Think about how, like, Melvin was utilized, man. Could stand up, move around, do the rover, inside, outside. Like, he gave me those vibes. He definitely gave me poor man's Melvin Ingram vibes. But he's another one of them dudes, man, potentially.
Yeah, I thought with Phelps, a little bit of him too.
Oh yeah,
didn't jump off the screen like some of the other dudes.
Yeah, because like you said, when you said Derek jump off the screen, I'm like, yo, it looked electric. Like, you can tell that's talent. How'd you feel about the cat from TCU though? Was it Horton? Another one of them speedy dudes too, man.
Right, they look like safeties.
They all do. Does that concern you?
No, like I said, I just think it's the way the NFL's going in a way.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Like, if you got to bulk up, you got to do some certain things, you do it. But speed is something that can't really be taught.
Yeah.
And if you have just the baseline skills of being an edge rusher, and if you as an organization are confident in your coaches and stuff and your teachings, and you bring in a guy with the speed, with some of just the natural talent, and you think you can mold him, it makes sense. I don't think it concerns me. It's just now you can, if you're running an offense, you can flip it on them. If a person just wants to have a bunch of athletic guys on defense, bulk up like what we're doing, really.
That's definitely our approach right now, right?
Yeah, because so much of the offenses, or actually, no, I'm sorry. Well, both ways. A lot of people are trying to get athletic, but the defenses now, they're really trying to get athletic across the board.
Yeah, be small and fast, man.
So, way to combat that, yeah, let's just run the ball. Let's go back to old school football.
It worked for us though.
And then
Like, it
things
definitely
might
worked for
start
us, though,
flip.
bro.
Like if
Yeah.
some teams start having success that way, and defense would be like, oh, we got to get bulky again.
Mhm.
Dudes like Jack Campbell are going to
Yeah.
be more to premium.
Yeah.
Everything flips, I feel like. Because Belichick was
about
zigging
to
when everyone
say,
was zagging back in the day, using
absolutely.
those 2 tight end sets
Absolutely.
and everything.
Shoot, even the last Super Bowl they won up there.